It's your man Alex, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys my take on an easy skin fade self haircut with scissor work on top. So let's get right into it. So to get started with this self haircut, I'm going to be using my trimmers. These trimmers are from Glaker and they have a T-blade. I got them from TikTok if you guys want to check it out. So I'm using my Glaker trimmers to put in the first guideline. I'm going to be going up probably around a half an inch just above my ear, and it's going to be a guideline very similar to a mid fade. So I'm going straight horizontally across the side of my head with a very slight downward drop as I get past my ear toward the back of my head. So I'm basically going up right around the eyebrow, the corners of my eyebrow, going straight across, and then doing a slight drop toward the back of my head. And of course, make sure you're using both of your mirrors appropriately, because you don't want to have one side of your head lopsided and one side higher or lower than the other side. Now, the guideline doesn't necessarily need to be perfectly straight because you're going to go ahead and do detail work anyway. But again, try your best to make this guideline as straight as you can, because it sets the foundation for the rest of the haircut. So now going in with my Babyliss Pro FX double foil shavers, I'm going to be smoothing everything out underneath that guideline and balding it down to skin. So a lot of us nowadays in 2025 like to have bald skin fades, so it's all the way down to skin. Foil shavers are going to be a great way for you to achieve that. Now, you don't need to spend a whole lot of money like I did for these Babyliss foil shavers. They definitely have more affordable options as well if you do want to have, a really close shaves and you don't want to spend a lot of money on tools. For the second guideline, I'm going to be going in with the no guard lever open, and I'm going up about 3/4 to 1 whole inch for this second guideline. And it's really important that you do that because we're trying to create gradients within the fade. And in order to do that, you have to spread out each guideline a good distance. And what I've found over my 16 years of experience is 3/4 to 1 whole inch of a guideline is perfect. It's more than enough to create that distance to allow for a gradient blend with the color from light to dark. So as you're going around your head, just make sure that the entire guideline from the right to the left side to the back of your head is staying within that 3/4 to 1 inch guideline distance. So now to go in and remove that hard line, I'm going to be using the no guard lever halfway, and this is going to be the first part out of 3 parts just to remove this particular hard line. So it's a 3-step process: no guard lever halfway, no guard lever closed, and then going back to the trimmer if necessary. Now, the no guard lever halfway is going to remove about 50% of the hard line. Really, all you're doing here is just softening up the hard line and making it a little bit easier for you to go in and reduce and drop down the lever to the lever closed and then start to flick out the hard line. So really what you're doing is creating that gradient blend, that slight transition from longer hair to shorter hair as you're reducing the weight of that hard line. To continue with the removal of the first hard line, I'm going to be using the no guard lever closed. This again is step 2 out of 3. Sometimes you may not need the 3rd step, but this is the 2nd step. And no guard lever closed usually gets rid of about 90 to 99% of that hard line. Depending on if your clippers are 0 gapped or not, if they're about the same length of a trimmer, will depend if you need the 3rd step or not. So what I found with my clippers is that I have to go back to the trimmer anyway, so I just do 3 steps. So no guard lever halfway, no guard lever closed, and then back to trimmer. And what you're really trying to do here is just start from underneath the hard line, go up, hit the hard line, and then flick away. And because I was able to get rid of the hard line with just 2 out of those 3 steps, I can move forward with the number 1 guard lever open to put in the 3rd guideline. Now the 3rd guideline is going to be again 3/4 to 1 whole inch all the way around your head. Again, making sure that it's perfectly the same exact distance all the way around your head. You don't want to go up half an inch on one side and then 1 inch on another side, 3/4 on another. You really want to make sure that when you're putting in each guideline, that each guideline is the same exact length. You really don't want to have a lopsided haircut when you're done and then look at yourself in the mirror and be like, what did I just do? Now, to get rid of the second hard line, we're going to be going in with the half guard lever open. Just like with the first hard line, this is going to be softening it up by about 50%. So there's always that beginning stage of the hard line removal where you're going to be softening up the hard line to about 50%. So that's with the half guard lever open. Just like with the no guard lever halfway, both are used to soften up that hard line so you can then go in afterwards with a new lever position, in this case the half guard lever closed, and this is the guard that you should be able to use to completely get rid of that hard line. So go from underneath the hard line, go up and hit the hard line and flick away at the same exact time. You're gonna have to go back and forth with the clippers numerous times. And then also you'll notice how my left hand is like stretching my scalp so that I'm spreading the guideline a little bit more, which makes it a little bit less risky when I'm flicking out the hard line and I don't accidentally create a new hard line, by accident and then have to go back and fix up the fade even more. Now for the last guideline, I'm going to be going in with the number 2 guard lever open, and I'm still going to be going up about 3/4 to 1 whole inch all the way around my head. Now, one of the key things that you need to know about the number 2 guard and what I like to do with my haircuts is that I like to go straight up at a 90-degree angle directly off my head. So I go up at a 90-degree angle, I keep my head straight looking in the mirror, and I go 90 degrees straight up perpendicular to the ceiling. And whatever hair falls into the blades is what gets cut. Now, using my 1.5 guard lever closed, I'm going to be flicking out that hard line that I just created using the number 2 guard lever open. Now, this lever and guard position might or might not get rid of the entire hard line completely. You'll notice that I do a lot of detail with my thinning shears as well, and if you need to, for whatever reason, this isn't getting rid of the hard line, you can always go back to the number 1 guard lever open, which, if we can remember, was the previous guideline before this guard and lever position, and that should help get rid of the hard line as well. Now I'm going to be going in with my thinning shears and doing what I call the reverse thinning shear method. So this is what I've coined. I've kind of discovered this myself as a really unique way to get rid of any bulky spots or any remaining bit of a hard line that you see within the fade. So the thinning shears held in reverse is exactly what it sounds like. You hold your thinning shears in reverse and you just target any bulky spots within the fade and you cut directly at it to get rid of. And ever since I started using this technique, it's really helped get rid of a lot of the hard lines within my fade. So now the fun part begins where we're done with the fade and we can go in and start to cut the length on top. Now, if you're like me and you've got, dark, thick hair and it's wavy and kind of coarse, you have to wet your hair first down to the roots so that you can straighten it with the comb. And then what you're going to do is create a middle part line and spread it exactly like you see on screen right now, with one side on the other side and one side on the other side. And this is what I call the perimeter guideline. So we basically start by cutting the outsides of the top of your hair first, and then we use that outside guideline, the perimeter guideline, and work our way inward afterwards. So we work the perimeter of our head first, and then we use that guideline, which is what you see right now, and I'm following that exact guideline to work inward to the inside of my head, and then I just channel that guideline all the way across, and I basically view my entire head, the top of my head, like a grid. So I section it like grid paper. So each like back section, front section, middle section, left side, right side, it's all like a box to me. It's all like grid paper. like we would use in math class. And so that's how I envision my head when I'm cutting my hair with scissors, and I just follow the perimeter guideline on the outsides of my head, and I work my way all the way around my head, following that imaginary grid that I'm looking at when I'm looking through the mirrors. And this is usually a fantastic way to cut the length on top. So now that we've finished cutting the length on top, we still have to blend in the fade into that longer length on top. And so what I like to do is use my thinning shears over comb, the thinning shear over comb technique, and start to blend in all of that hair by my part line into that longer length on top. So what I like to do is use my comb and my thinning shears and slowly move up the part line at the same exact time as I'm cutting. So everything's done slowly, nice and slowly, and staying patient throughout to give it a nice even blend. And we're not quite done yet with the haircut because we have to give ourselves a clean lineup. So what I like to do personally for my forehead is use my little scissors and cut across my hairline. So I like to use my scissors because it's a little bit safer, it's less risky, and it gives me a bit more accuracy. Then everything else around my hairline, I like to use my trimmers because, you know, I feel like I have a little bit more control right around there, and I don't want to just accidentally narrow the longer length on top by using a trimmer on my actual forehead. So for the vertical bars, the C cup around my temples, I feel very comfortable just using my trimmers. Now to style my hair, I'm using my mystery clay, which is an all-natural hair clay that I've been making from scratch in my kitchen. This hair clay only has 6 ingredients and offers an all-day high-hold matte finish. Too many products on the market have really toxic and harsh chemicals for our hair, and after so many years of no real change within this industry, I know I've got what it takes to give the world a new healthy option that styles, nourishes, and promotes hair health at the same time. This is my take on an easy skin fade self haircut. Let me know in the comments below how you think the haircut turned out and what other hairstyles you'd like me to try out next. But make sure you leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and check out this video if you want to take your self haircuts to the next level.